Okay, CP Cloud. Right, so we're going to give the other participants a few more minutes to join us. Okay, so this is nothing new. Basically, what you have learned from your research methodology class, right? Slideshow. Okay, so far, how many do we have now? 6, including me. Wow. Everyone must be very, very busy. Okay. Wang Yu is here. Hello, Wang Yu.
Hello, doctor.
Um, okay, we have how many more minutes? Better start on the dot. Yeah, 2 more minutes. Okay. Okay, we now have additional 7 viewers. Go Chang Liu. Okay. Ayu, how are you? Ayu? Is that Ayu Rita? Is that you, Ayu Rita? Or is this a different Ayu? Oh. Okay. Zhang Yuan Yang. Right? Okay, we have 1 more minute. Okay, so we have already come to this juncture where you get to discuss, or you get to, I'm going to open this presentation to all of you to discuss and share your own experience. Okay, so yeah, let me just give you a brief biodata about me. Okay, I did my PhD long time ago, right? So I wasn't as lucky as you guys, because during my time, we didn't have all these facilities. Okay, I had to travel to JB to meet my supervisor. If I text him, I'm not expected to get immediate reply. So you guys are lucky because you have WhatsApp, you have email, you have all these online platform for you to communicate with your supervisors. Okay. But anyway, I'm very grateful that I'm here today to share with you my own experience. Okay, and if you want to add on, feel free to add on. Okay. All right. So this is about formulating research objectives. By the way, my background is qualitative. I'm trying to venture into mixed method. Okay, I'm not into quantitative because I know my strength is not in numbers. I'm more into interviews, observation and all that, right? Okay, so, sorry. Okay, so the aim of the presentation is to introduce and to expose students to the mechanics of writing the research objectives, and also to offer knowledge. Okay, grammar mistake. To offer knowledge, resources, and practical insights for students to explore practical ways of formulating the research objectives, either at master's or PhD level. So the materials shared in this session is based on my own experience as a lecturer and also research supervisor. And I also bring in my own experience when I did my PhD, right? So my PhD is in TESOL, right? So the overview of this presentation, the introduction, the criteria of research objective versus research aim, the importance of ROs and how to write research aims and ROs, steps to write ROs, SMART ROs, example of SMART RO, conclusion, and recommended reading. Okay. Okay, we have 12 participants so far. Okay. Let's look at the role of ROs. Okay, to describe. Okay, to describe what your research is trying to achieve. What your research is trying to achieve. Okay. Explain why you are pursuing this study. Okay, it's also to summarize the approach and purpose of your project. To provide focus for your research. How? By guiding every step of the research process, including how you collect data, build your argument, and develop your conclusions. Okay, so ROs are very, very important when you are writing your thesis, because all the time you'll be referring to the RO. Okay, and examiners, okay, let me tell you, because examiners, they are very critical of your RO. Like every word that you choose to write has to describe, to summarize, to show focus of your research. Okay. I think I don't know whether you have seen an actual viva voce or maybe proposal defense. Okay. The first chapter, believe it or not, is the most thoroughly read by the examiners. Okay, because if your first chapter, all right, first we have the introduction, right? Introduction, you have the problem statement, the background of your study, the background of your study, the problem statement, the aim of your research, and then the research objective. Okay. Once they find that there's no problem, or they're not convinced that there is an actual problem, some examiners, they will start to be very, how do you say it? They will start to be very aggressive. Okay, and they will start to attack the student. Like, I don't see a problem. Why should you have this study, or why should you conduct this research? Because there's no problem. Okay, there's no problem to solve, right? And then, but sometimes some examiners can be quite forgiving, and they say that, oh, maybe the problem is not really concrete, it's abstract. Okay, so they can still proceed to read up until the aim of the research. Okay, and still, like, you know, if the examiners are not happy with the problem statement, and they will start to attack the aim of the research. Okay, aim is very broad, right? Okay, this is where research objectives will try to save your study or your proposal. Okay, that's why the verbs used must have all this function: to describe, to summarize, to provide focus. Okay, so are you guys following me so far? You know, feel free to interrupt me if you think that, you know, this is not enough. Okay, thank you, Go Jiang. All right. Okay, next one. Criteria of the research objectives. Where to locate the actual location in the introduction, but must be at the end of the problem statement. Okay. And please bear in mind that research objectives evolve, right? Because when your research progresses, you will find that you have to revise your research objectives. I know some students will say that, oh, no, I must follow strictly what I've written for my research objectives. Actually, we are quite flexible. In fact, I think qualitative study, what I like about qualitative study is that it's very, how do you say it? Yeah, it's dynamic. Okay, it's dynamic. Why? Because sometimes when you, the findings of your study actually determine your research objectives. Sometimes, not all the time. Okay, this is what happened to me personally. Okay, my supervisor, he's also a qualitative person. Okay, he's even more rigid than me, because there's some authors, or some, how do you say it, some experts in qualitative study that he does not approve. Okay, I can give you some names. He approves Miriam. Okay, that's the big name in qualitative study. But if he sees I cited Creswell, I can see his face, you know, will change. It will look like that. You know, he doesn't like Creswell. He wouldn't tell it to my face, but I can see from his face. He doesn't like whenever I cite Creswell. Okay. But one thing that I find after reading Creswell or Miriam, and several other names, big names like the other two names, Lincoln and Gubar. Okay. Sometimes the findings actually guide you in revising your ROs. So don't ever think that research objectives cannot change. That's the wrong perception. Okay, just always bear in mind that ROs are dynamic. Okay, and it should reflect your findings, right? It's not the other way around. I hope I'm making sense. Right, next one. Yes, your ROs should always line up with the research carried out and the actual content of your thesis. Okay, this is also very, very useful when you are doing chapter 4. Yeah, the chapter 4, you always put what? Amjad, what do you write in your chapter 4? I know you are now doing your chapter 4. Amjad, can you please share with us?
Yeah, results and discussion.
Yes, results and discussion. And I know some students, especially those without the research background, they feel lost when writing chapter 4. So this is where your ROs come in. Okay. Again, I'm very thankful to my supervisor because he taught me this. You make your ROs, or you write your ROs, so you rephrase. You rephrase your ROs. Try to make it look or sound like a header. You know, like if you read the newspaper, first you look at the header, right? Prime Minister of Malaysia has been chosen. So then only you will read the content, right? Okay, so what my supervisor taught me is that change the RO, make it sound like not necessarily a newspaper header, but a header that, you know, makes a reader want to read more. Okay, so that's why you should always line up, should align in the research objective with your research and the content of your thesis, right? And I'm not going to go into details like, oh, this is how you should number. Maybe under the header, you should have the subheader. That one you have to figure it out. Okay, but like I said, the ROs, yeah. I'm not going to touch on RQ. RQ is just RO. You made it. You turn it into a question. In the form of a question. Okay. All right. So yeah, in order for you to get the RQ, you must have a strong RO. Okay, the research objective, RO. Okay. Next one. Okay, research objective versus research aim. So your research aim typically refers to a broad statement. Just now I mentioned already, it has to be broad. So indicating the general purpose of your research project. Okay. And it should always appear at the end of your problem statement before your research objectives. Okay. So that's why I said examiners, they are always disturbed. I use the word disturbed. If they find that, oh, the problem statement, it doesn't really have a problem. But it's okay, they continue reading and they look at the aim of your study. And if they're still not happy with the aim of the study, then they will start to be in attack mode, you know. But like I said, not all examiners are like that. You know, some would say that, oh, it's okay, give the students some benefit of the doubt, you know, continue reading the research objectives. So your research objectives is like the saving, yeah, it's supposed to save your problem statement and also your aim of the study. Okay. Right. So ROs are more specific than your research aim. So it's like you break your aim. Remember the broad statement, you make it more specific. Okay. And it should indicate the particular focus and approach of your project. Okay, you will find that if you write a qualitative research objective, as compared to quantitative research objective is different. Okay. In fact, for mixed method, even the verb should be different. Right. Okay. So even though you have one research aim, you should have several research objectives. Right. So the importance of ROs should establish the scope and depth of your project. Okay. It should help you avoid unnecessary research, meaning you are not a headless chicken. You know where you are heading. Okay. And it also means that your research methods and conclusions can easily be evaluated, meaning the future research can actually use your research methods and conclusion, okay, to extend your study. Okay, it's a way to help other researchers, future researchers, to replicate or make your study as a reference.
Yes.
Right? And ROs should contribute to your research design. Okay, it will give you a clearer idea of what methods are most appropriate for your research. Okay, I know this is a bit tough to explain. I think I should share this also with you guys. Hold on. Stop sharing. I'm going to share this one. There's another one. Okay. I asked my students to do this. Where is it? Hold on. I just lost it. Where's that file? Okay. Right. So this is I don't make it compulsory, but you know, it should help you. Because yeah, somebody asked about research question just now, right? Okay. Research question is actually the question form of your research objective, right? So if you want to find out whether your research questions are doable and practical for your research design, I would suggest you do this table. Okay. And you try to see whether everything fits into the table. What I mean by fit into the table is that so I put question mark, you know, like, okay, if the research design is qualitative, okay, so would thematic analysis be, you know, helpful in order to help you answer the research question? Okay, and what are the previous studies to support the instrument? Okay, like Miles and Huberman, they would advise you to use observation metrics. Okay, so you have to justify. Okay, so this is what, according to Miles and Huberman, in order for you to get the answer to this research question. Okay, so this is just an example of how you can sort of test whether your ROs, RQs are aligned with your study. All right. Okay, so stop sharing. Okay, we go back. sorry. Okay, just now we talked about the importance of ROs, right? Okay, this is the continuation. Okay, your ROs should indicate how your project will contribute to extant research, meaning the current literature may have some gap. All right, so your research objective should show that you are trying to, display your knowledge of up-to-date research. You want to employ or build on current research methods, or you may attempt to contribute to recent debates. Okay. Next one. Achievement of each research objective will lead to the achievement of the research aim. So that's why I said your research objectives. I know I've come across some students who have written like 7 research objectives. Do you have to write 7 research objectives? Because remember, your research objectives will be your research question. Okay, so does that make sense? Your study have to answer like 7 research questions. So you ask yourself, right, before you defend your proposal or before you show to your supervisor, is it necessary to have so many research objectives? Yeah, I've come across a PhD thesis from 4 research objectives. It has to be reduced to only 2. So not necessarily a PhD thesis must have many objectives. All right. As long as your research aim is clear and your research objectives can help you achieve the research aim. So numbers do not contribute. Okay. All right. So next one. Okay, how to write the ROs? Simple. This steps follows after the research problem you want to address has been established. Okay, so that's why I said your problem statement has to be very, very clear, very well written. Okay, so that when you write your ROs, like I said, the key recipe is, the key ingredient is that everything must be aligned. Okay. Step 1, you must decide on a general aim. Yes, so you should reflect your research problem. Your research aim should reflect your research problem and should be relatively broad. Okay. The next step is to decide on the specific objectives. You break down your aim into a limited number of steps. Remember, you don't have to have so many research objectives, as long as it should help you resolve your research problem. Okay. And then please identify what specific aspects of the problem do you want to examine or understand. Okay. Step 3, formulate your aims and objectives. Frame them as clear declarative statements. Remember, declarative. And use appropriate verbs. See, the use of verbs should be you should be very, very careful about that. Okay? To accurately characterize the work that you will carry out. So we suggest that you use SMART. Okay, what is SMART? The concept of SMART. Specific. measurable, achievable, relevant, time. Okay, these are all very critical. Okay, and you have to address whether your ROs can actually, do they have this criteria? Okay, if your ROs have all these 5 criteria, then you should proceed. If not, please revise your ROs. Right? What are the verbs to use? To explore, to define, to describe, to identify, to examine, to apply, to compare, contrast, to assess, to evaluate, to establish. Okay, this one is more for qualitative. I think for mixed method or quantitative, maybe to quantify, or to measure, or evaluate maybe can be used for quantitative study. Okay, and then your ROs should be written in chronological order, and they should be linked to one another, and they should have a natural order. Okay, like you have identified something, and after that, what do you want to do? You want to define. Okay, and then once you have defined the phenomena or the situation or the condition, maybe you want to describe or examine in more detail. Okay, and then the last step, you may want to predict what will happen in the future, right? Okay, next one. This is an example of a SMART RO. Okay, so the first one you should look at is the research aim, which is to evaluate the effectiveness of CEFR implementation at primary school curriculum. Okay, so this is very broad. So what do you mean by effectiveness of CEFR? Okay, and which primary school, which curriculum, what level of curriculum, right? So research question 1, which is actually from the research objective 1, which is to explore the effects of CEFR implementation on District of Sepang Year 6 primary school students' English proficiency. Okay, so you turn it into a question format. What is the impact of CEFR on District of Sepang Year 6 primary school students' English proficiency? So you have addressed, that means, what do you mean by effectiveness? You want to see the English proficiency, specifically which, what cohort? Year 6 primary school students, and the research setting or research context will be District of Sepang. Okay. So any questions so far? Anyone wants to add? Or maybe if you have, if you want to compare with your own way of writing. Okay, thank you for the response. Okay, next one. Conclusion. It's good practice before committing to research projects likely to involve considerable research time and resources. Aim to do some exploratory information gathering. So sometimes people call it preliminary study. Actually up to you. You can label it whatever you want to label it. but it helps you to get a feel for the practicality or feasibility of the ROs. Okay, like I know some people, even in semester 2 or semester 3, they're still like, oh, they don't know where actually the research is heading, right? So normally I would suggest that, you know, you go to the research setting, right? Get a feel, like you employ the SMART. Remember the SMART criteria, okay? So that you know that your research objective is achievable. All right. It will not take too much time and resources, because remember, you aim to get your PhD within 3 years. Okay. Yeah, some can achieve that, you know, even less than 3 years. I know of people who, like, after the 3rd semester, they say, oh, I think I want to change my topic. And by the 3rd year, he submitted his thesis and graduated on time. Okay, so it's not impossible. It's just that how you look at the bigger picture. All right. But like I said, go do this. This is very good. It helps you to, you know, eliminate some of the research objectives, help you to actually revise. Okay. So don't worry so much. You can read more. Okay. Yeah, this is an example, a preliminary study conducted on a random sampling in a different research setting. Okay, not necessarily where you're going to do your research. Like just now I gave you the example, District of Sepang. So maybe you can go to another district, maybe Petaling Jaya district, and you conduct on a random research participant. Okay. Okay, these are the references. Try to get the latest book. Sometimes books quite difficult to get the latest, but try to look for the latest edition. Yeah, like this one, Presswell. Yeah, 6th edition. Maybe now would already have maybe they already have published the 7th edition. Okay, so there are a lot of online resources. Okay, some universities, they have on the website, you know, on how to write research objectives. Yeah, now we also have ebooks. Okay. So thank you for your time. I open to any questions, or maybe you can share with us your own experience. Anybody? Oh, sorry, I've taken Dr. Harmi's time. Sorry.
It's okay, Dr. Sri, no problem.
So no questions. Anybody wants to ask, or anybody wants to share? Okay, so I pass this on to Dr. Harmi. Sorry, Dr. Harmi.
No problem, Dr. Sri.
You want to stay on my link? I don't mind.
No, they're going to go to my link.
Okay. So see you guys and all the best.
Thank you, Dr.
Bye.
Sri. Thank you.
See you, doctor.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Welcome.
Have a good day.